Welcome to the InSession Film Podcast for June 8th, 2014. This is episode 68, and I'm JD Durand.
I am Blake Pertuzit.
And I'm Jacob Riles.
Blake, wait, you're from the United States.
No, sir, I am from Kentucky.
Reload.
You alright, Cage?
I think I broke something.
What?
My back. The only thing I can feel in my lips.
Now listen carefully. This is a very important rule. This is the only rule. You get injured on the field, you better make sure you die.
Why?
Last time I was in combat, I was hit. I was bleeding out, just not fast enough. I woke up in a field hospital with 3 pints of someone else's blood, and I was out. I lost the power. Do you understand? I think we better start over, don't you?
What?
All right, Edge of Tomorrow is directed by Doug Liman and stars Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, Bill Paxton, and a few other people as well. All right, I'll toss it to you first, Jacob. What did you guys think about Edge of Tomorrow?
I really liked it. I liked it a lot. But then again, I also liked Oblivion, so
Very nice.
some people complain about that movie. I feel like I've been on the opposite side of the tracks on the last couple of movies, so I'm scared to know what you guys think.
Well, I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, I do, stay involved in seeing all the trailers and stuff like that, where JD's the opposite of me and usually keeps away from that stuff. I like being spoiled. I'm that nerdy fanboy who's on top of everything, especially considering this came, based off of a novel and a manga. I liked it a whole lot better. I thought that they did a good job of keeping a lot of things kind of kept back as far as from, scenes in the movie. They showed enough to get you interested without spoiling everything. I was just talking to JD before we started recording. I was so happy. I had no idea Bill Paxton was in this, and I thought he was perfect. So a few of these other little side parts I thought were amazing.
Yeah, I completely agree with you guys, especially you, Blake. Like, this was a film that I wasn't really anticipating.
Yeah.
The trailers did nothing to sell this for me. I mean, it kind of looked to me like an average action movie with Tom Cruise,
No, it
which
looked
isn't
like-
a bad thing. I mean,
It was a Halo meets Groundhog Day. I was
Sure.
like, okay, well, I'll see it, but meh.
yeah. And the thing is, going back to something you were saying, Jacob, with Oblivion, I didn't mind Oblivion. It wasn't anything super special for me. I certainly didn't hate it. I enjoyed it for what it was. And this kind of seemed to be in that same realm for me for the most part. It wasn't anything that was going to be special, just this mundane action movie. And going in with those expectations, maybe that had a big part of it. I don't know, but it definitely far exceeded those expectations. I thought Tom Cruise was amazing in this film. I thought his chemistry with Emily Blunt was pretty impeccable. They were fantastic. And especially for Emily Blunt, who has never really done an action role like this, she carried herself like she's done this 100 times.
I think that's why it worked.
Sure.
Because you had a better actress playing that part, an actress, not just somebody that would fill a role in an action flick.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I guess I'll kind of toss that out to you guys then, too. What did you guys think about Tom Cruise in general in this movie? Is his performance something you enjoyed?
I thought he did a great job, but I mean, I think he usually does, and was loose and scared when he needed to be, and never seen combat before. And then towards the times when he would have done this 347 times, it was like he really had, and I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, what I will say is, I mean, for a majority of the movie, it's standard Tom Cruise action flick, just with a new character. It's not like a character he's done before over and over, but it's the same kind of dramatic breathing when he talks kind of stuff there, the dramatic stuff there. It's not bad, but what I liked is that through the trailers and stuff we had seen before here, you got the feeling that he was this decorated war hero and he was going to be, that was the reason for it. And we find out that's not the case at all. And so, like you mentioned there, Jacob, the parts where he's kind of scared and he's using some of his, he's trying to blackmail the general and things like that to get out of going into this.
He's just real timid.
Exactly. And I think that kind of made me the character a bit more endearing to me at that point there. I kind of got on board with him a bit more. especially the first couple times when he was going back and forth and like seeing the things over and over and kind of panicking on his own a bit. I thought it was pretty good in those parts.
You saw him go from rookie to veteran in front of your eyes.
Yeah, and that transformation was pretty compelling. And they do kind of play with your expectations, and perhaps the marketing did play a lot of that because you don't really get a sense of that, at least in the trailers. And I didn't watch anything past the first one, so I guess I wouldn't be the ideal person to talk about that. But they kind of play with your expectations in the sense that when you see Tom Cruise, you don't really expect to see that kind of a character. You expect to see him kind of in form. He's the badass soldier who's going to kind of save the day. And while he does kind of start to develop that, Tom Cruise, I think, plays it pretty well. I mean, he's very timid. He's very cowardly, I guess is a really good way to put it. He does try to blackmail the general to get out of the situation to begin with, which is pretty interesting. I thought he did a pretty good job with that. And then as the story starts to develop, we kind of see that he does kind of get to the front lines, and that's kind of when we see Bill Paxton's character for the first time. I thought that interaction was kind of interesting, and I feel like if Bill Paxton was going for weird and annoying, like if that's what he was going for, I feel like he nailed it pretty well.
I feel like this was the movie for Tom Cruise to show that he doesn't take himself so seriously.
No, I completely agree. I think... Well, I mean, and they do play that, I think, into the humor, too, because there's a lot of natural comedic elements that I thought was blended into the drama as well.
Yeah, a lot of the early moments in some of his earlier deaths with, like, you know, like the generic screams, whatever you see,
sure.
like off-screen deaths, and it's just like the one for me I love the most when he get run over by the truck.
Oh, yeah.
Those two ones where you hit by a truck and one get run over, like, what the hell was he doing?
Sure.
Yeah, the reaction shots were really great.
Yeah,
but I love how he screamed like a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was perfect. And I think that we've seen stuff before there, and not necessarily in film so much as off film things or on TV, where I think, and I don't feel that Tom Cruise takes himself too seriously. I mean, even going back to, he did like a cameo in one of the Austin Powers movies, which was goofy as hell. He did the whole thing, and I still one of my favorite things ever for him. And I didn't put it in. We're doing our top 3 later, but when he did the thing at the MTV Movie Awards with Ben Stiller, as the other Tom Cruise, Crooze or whatever, the stunt double, and they were playing each other, like repeating each other's lines and cutting up back and forth there. So I think that he definitely he's aware of himself as well. And so that's why one reason I like him as an actor overall.
He's fully aware
exactly
of that. Yeah, no, I agree. Getting back to something that you said, Blake, is that a lot of the main premise of this film is kind of like this Groundhog Day effect, where he kind of has to relive the same day over and over again. And you kind of compared it to a mix of that and also Halo. I also kind of got the sense of kind of a PG-13 version of Saving Private Ryan, especially when you throw in the parallels to them invading a beach in a big D-Day kind of attack.
Well, the fact that it was released on D-Day
as well. So there's a lot of parallels there, and I thought the way that they kind of mixed that was pretty interesting. But to me, I think the brilliance in all of that is in the editing, which is just absolutely magnificent here, because we're able to see the Cage character being able to manipulate this power that he has to basically build this greater purpose. And as he's trying to find himself, the results that we get are funny, but they're also validating, and they build his character. And I think it also builds tension in an appropriate way. We're never getting too many of the specifics from the time before. It's all used appropriately to help carry the story forward. And we get a bunch of great action scenes as he kind of builds and builds and builds on trying to relive this day to help save humanity from these guys. And the interactions he has with everyone there and what he's learning and how he's developing is just amazing. And just the way that is edited and pieced together was just an absolute terrific job by Doug Liman and his team. I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. It was very riveting for me.
And it was only 2 hours long. In a movie like this, there's been a trend lately for it to be longer. Mm-hmm. So I like that it wasn't too self-indulgent of that as well.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. The way that they kind of flipped around those scenes a little bit here, just enough to make them, where it wasn't like annoying, like you're watching. I was worried that we're going to have too much of that, reliving the same exact lines and scenes over and over and over
Sure.
and over. And they did it very well as far as to make it not seem too repetitive or annoying. So that's
for the entire version of our podcast. Be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher, or check us out online at InSessionFilm.com.